Hey, hi, hello. My name is Shane Link and welcome to a new video. Now before we begin, I just want to say thank you once again. I'll be saying thank you every YouTube video just because I am so grateful for you guys. You guys have seriously made my workload 10 times easier by subbing. It really means a lot, so thank you. I also want to say sorry for the break. I was in Disneyland for a week. I was with my family, so I could not record. But here we are. I'm also moving, so expect maybe a couple more breaks as I am trying to move. I am a collector, so it's gonna take a long time for me to pack all my stuff up. So thank you guys for the understanding. But mascot horror. I'm sure everyone has heard of it at some point in their life, most notably him. But what actually is mascot horror? I feel like we've all seen it, and actually mascot horror has branched off to make a bunch of other types of horror like VHS horror and that type of stuff. But where does it come from? And for that, I need to explain a different type of horror, and that horror is indie horror. Now, this term was coined due to the fact that most of their games are made up by a small group or a singular person. Before we had FNAF, we had the likes of Slender Man, Amnesia, and Outlast. At the time, these games struck fear into the people playing them, some getting successful enough to get their own series. Like Slender Man in that movie. What made these games work was the pure love and dedication to the craft. Things like story, character design, and the scares. As in, no jump scares, and if they are, they're very minuscule. A lot of these games build up tension through a lot of the scary moments, the dark hallways, the quiet noises, the little drips of faucets or pipes, stuff like that. And some of these games do incorporate this type of gameplay, like Mouthwashing, Me-Side, and Fears to Fathom. These three games are completely unique from each other with their own amazing stories that just make it shine and really show that it is still possible to have that old classic spark that the old indie horror games did. Well, now that I explained what indie horror is, what does it have to do with mascot horror? I mean, this seems like they're two different things. They're both different names, right? Well, remember what I said what made these indie games so great? A lot of it is due to the character design and, of course, the gameplay, but mostly character design. The best example of this is Slender and the 8 Pages, probably the most recognizable icon in the horror space. If you watch horror games or hell even watched the movie, you probably know who Slender Man is. At the time, Slender Man was the scariest thing in gaming. Slender went to show that if you had a good character as well as good game design, you will go places. Hell, Slender and, like I said, the two games before, Amnesia and Outlast, got console ports, which is a pretty big accomplishment. But coming from this, in comes Scott Cawthon, a game designer who was thrown a bad hand. He made games people didn't like and was always told that he wasn't going to make it as a game designer. And as a last-ditch effort, he decided to release his first game on August 8th, 2014. Five Nights at Freddy's. A new game featuring an animatronic bear, and not to mention a completely new game mechanic. Sitting in the office with little to no defenses, just 2 doors and a power shortage that could hinder your gameplay at any moment. And you probably know the rest. But this sparked something. Note how in this game, it was named after one animatronic, Freddy. And on that day, a new genre was born. Now, after this whole craze is what I like to call the Big Three was made and introduced. The first of which, of course, being FNAF, a pizzeria shrouded in mystery after a set of murders and missing children took place. Tattletale, a game about opening your Christmas gifts and finding a company shrouded in mystery, all being hid behind one singular toy. And Bendy and Ink Machine, a game that is in the crazed mind of an animator who wants to show his old friend some things he's been working on. These were the big three of mascot horror, all with different gameplay, story, and characters. These were all completely unique. These three games had nothing in common. Different stories, different everything. And that's what made this spark so good and solidified what made these games so great. Everything was so beautifully crafted and coherent that anyone can play. They can jump in and be able to understand the story that's going on. But after this, more and more people joined in on this trend. Some pretty good and some pretty bad. Now, to continue on how these three games are going, FNAF obviously kept going. And it seems like Scott didn't really know when to stop making these games, and for every game he also added more and more complex lore, making jumping into the series a complete nightmare. And I've been in this series for years. I've been here since the first game was made. So that's saying something. Now, the community actually runs the show with this now. As the other games are not doing too great in adding dumb lore, the FNAF fan games bring back that spark that Scott Cawthon first made when he made FNAF in the first place. It embodied the original game. Now, Bendy is trying to turn towards this route as well, as after the first game they added a bunch of spin-offs. Now, if it wasn't canon it'd be one thing, but they're adding more and more lore that just doesn't feel right. It just feels complex and unnecessary to add it. And honestly, Bendy should have ended after the first game. But yet we have more and more games that are being complex and are starting to just add unnecessary stuff that makes it harder to go in, as well as earning money based off commissions, figures, stuff like that. And then there's Tattletale. Now, Tattletale did something amazing. They stopped. They made one main game and one DLC that added some story, and that's it. You can jump on the game, then jump out and know what happened, not questioning a bunch of nonsense like these other two games did, or are doing right now. Now, besides this, other games definitely took the FNAF and Bendy route by adding dumb lore for people to find to get money out of it. Granny, Hello Neighbor, and Poppy Playtime, and this. But they all just don't work. Well, they do, of course, from a money standpoint, but they don't have that spark the big three had in the beginning. As at this point, it's starting to get repetitive. Granny and Hello Neighbor are practically the same game. Same game mechanics, same trying to escape the main person who just gets so repetitive after a while. It just doesn't really feel that great. And Poppy is trying to make a name for themselves, but people can't help but compare Bendy to Poppy Playtime as a tormented person trying to make a dream into a reality. And I'm honestly in the same boat, to be honest. It feels like a lot of these new horror experiences are made with bad intentions, whether it's popularity or money. Not to mention some of the creative things that are put on the internet.
5 nights.
Although, I can see a light shining through. New games that have that charm and admiration. Amanda the Adventurer, Finding Frankie, Indigo Park. These games show that it's possible to have the new horror and the original ideas of Mascot Horror had. And I don't want to dog on these games. This video is not made to upset anyone. As a matter of fact, I love every single one of these games. Well, most of them. And I'm really happy to see their success, as they all have good things about them. FNAF's community and movie, and Bendy's beautiful character designs and game development and movie, and Poppy's story and game development is getting better and better. Oh, another movie? What the fuck? But the goal of this video is to show that with passion for a project, it could bring back the vibe the big three gave us, and true experience. Now, once again, I'm going to go off script here, and I do want to say that a lot of these games, per se, I'm really excited to see how they turn out, as like I've said, this video is not meant to, I guess, dog and slander the names of these guys. I just wanted to bring attention of how I've been seeing the indie scope and mascot horoscope as a long fan. Now, with that being said, I'm sorry. I have been gone for a long time, and that is due to the fact that I have been sick a total of 3 times. Not to mention I've had a lot of personal stuff going on, but I promise I'll be back to making videos soon. My next video is something new. But anyways, I hope I can bring you guys some awesome entertainment. Please like and subscribe for more entertainment like this, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the fence. Later.